Okay, so welcome everybody. My name is Dawn Campbell, and today I'm joined in the hot seat by Bettina Pickering. Welcome, Bettina.
Hello, Dawn.
It's feast or famine. I haven't seen you in ages, and then twice in 2 days.
I know. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is, it is. So just to set the scene, as I always do, this is a weekly session, 2:30 midweek, every single week, where you can ask us anything about accreditation. And usually my guest is best placed to answer questions about how do I find a coach, how do I become trained, how do I become accredited, because they've usually gone through the process. So it's just not me telling you how good we are at the IAPC&M. So whether you're interested in adding coaching and or mentoring to your skill set, or maybe you're interested in finding out how best to do your due diligence and work with a coach or mentor to support you with your personal and professional goals, then we're ideally placed to answer those questions. Maybe you're a coach and you're one of those coaches who have decided, well, it's an unregulated market. I've been coaching for years and accreditation's kind of passed me by. I think it's a little bit like house insurance, maybe. It's not mandatory necessarily, but you sure wish you had it when something went wrong. So although accreditation isn't mandatory in the coaching and mentoring field, there are lots of reasons why it's good to be proactive around that in the event that it does become a regulatory thing, which I think it probably will at some point. And then maybe finally you're a training provider or a university. You've just finished the term. You're probably due to finish the term with all the exams and thinking, how do you attract more international students and increase your league tables over the summer, ready for the intake in September, October? How does accreditation help you achieve that? Well, it does, because it's one of those all-important due diligence differentiators that people look for when they're choosing who's going to support them on the next stage of their professional journey. So accreditation is a differentiator that helps you stand out in a very noisy, crowded digital space. So we have a lot of followers, Bettina, who just like to listen while they're having a cup of coffee, and we get comments like, wow, I didn't know you could be a divorce coach, or I didn't know you could be retired on wealth management, or whatever the subject was. So Gillian, my trusted VA, is on standby. She sent me a message. I'm on standby. Thank you, Gillian. So this is live streamed on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and it should be on Instagram too, I believe. So Gillian will take your questions and forward them to Bettina and I. So Bettina, before we get started, outside of work, what fills your heart with joy?
Well, I mean, at the moment, it is actually just being in nature, enjoying the fabulous sunshine, at least here in Ireland, on the West Coast. I love spending time with my cats and actually just, walking on the beach. And it's generally, I live a very busy life with lots of clients and lots of appointments on all time. And actually, every time I get a bit of peace and quiet and can just enjoy nature, I just love it.
I kind of guessed that would be your answer, because I follow you on Facebook as well. I know, like me, you're into permaculture, you love animals, and you're a very active member of your Irish community. Even though that's not your heritage, you've always had a calling to go there, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
I should say that Bettina is an accredited master coach and master mentor, and she's also a supervisor, just taking her exams.
In training. So I just want to be clear.
Yes.
In training.
Yeah. In training to qualify as a supervisor. So she has a special offer because she does need a couple more clients who are willing to be case studies for her finals. So I'm sure she will divulge more in a little bit. But firstly, why do you think supervision is so important? Because we're hearing it left, right, and centre at the moment for the coaching community and mentors as well. So what's your take on it, please, Bettina?
Well, I can give you my personal point absolutely, because I mean, I also trained as a supervisor just because of that. So even if I didn't offer it myself, it was really important to me to understand what exactly is it, how is it useful to me, and why should I be doing it? And the reasons are manifold, actually. I mean, we as coaches are usually, on our own. We're coaching clients constantly. We're on our own, unless we're in a large company, but we're not often getting feedback. Yes, the clients will say, yeah, it was great or not great, but actually the feedback and the reflection that a supervisor can help us with, and also is help us with our own well-being. How often do coaches burn out, for example? So I think this is where, for me personally, supervision has been absolutely fantastic. Where my supervisor helps me to hold up the mirror on my coaching in general, not just always for the one-to-one sessions that I might have with one single client. It's also across clients, and finding areas where, yeah, I may have blind spots, I may need to develop, but actually definitely have blind spots and need to develop. And that is so valuable, because it's a safe space for the coach to just explore. And also sometimes it is bringing, difficult client situations to someone else who had that experience, who can actually coach us through it. So that's what I have used supervision for, and I found it really, really beneficial to myself. So that's why I'm also then decided to train as a supervisor, to get more deeper into it.
And who are you training with?
Marie Fair, absolutely
Okay.
excellent training.
Yeah.
So beyond partnership, yeah, it was fabulous training. Unfortunately, I was supposed to finish last year, but then I got long COVID, so I had to take a break, and I'm now getting back into it. And I'm now looking for the final 2 case study clients so I can complete my training. But I've done everything else. I'm just waiting for those to finalize. But I didn't want to supervise clients, whether they're practice clients or case study clients or not, while I was still in the throes of long COVID. I didn't think that was fair to clients.
Yeah, quite. Yeah. Well, I know some of our members took you up on your offer last time. So you've got 2 more spaces. What are you looking for,
Yes.
Bettina?
Well, I'm just looking for coaches who want to try supervision. I only need 3 sessions, but obviously I quite happily go a bit longer if that's what's desired. The sessions need to be recorded, so I can use them as case studies. But in terms of the topics, it can be any type of supervision topic. It can be, bringing clients, client situations to the table. It can be an overall review of the coach themselves, how they coach, how they are in the world. One of my supervisions clients, for example, has come to me. They want to expand their coaching business and feel stuck. So it's those kind of things can be brought to supervision.
And how does supervision differ to, say, me going to my mentor or my coach for some feedback? Because the supervision industry is an industry in its own right now.
Yes. Yeah, so supervision is where the coach or the supervisor actually looks at it much more, the whole, the coach, the client, and the whole environment. So it's basically a much more holistic approach, rather than, so if I coach somebody, I just focus 100% only on the client as the coach. And look at that. But as a supervisor, you almost take that meta position. You're looking at the whole relationship and where the coach is in that relationship. And it's actually all about the coach and how they are in the sort of coaching relationship, rather than specifically the client. You see what I mean? So the client is a 1 step removed.
Yeah. So if I understand correctly, then it's very similar to counselors or therapists being in therapy themselves, having their own counselor or,
Yes.
or person to report to, their case study, what's gone on, what do they need to do to look after themselves, in a way that if we went to our coach, we're usually going to our coach, as a coach, I'd go to my coach.
Yeah.
Because I want some coaching on something. But if I went to a supervisor, it would be a different conversation.
Yes, it would be a different level of conversation. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the
Okay.
supervisor will pick up on other things as well. For example, the emotional state of the coach is especially around specifically on ethics, morality, that kind of thing, which a coach may or may not do. But often that doesn't come into the coaching conversation.
Okay. So presumably it's also about things like safeguarding, standards, ethics,
Yes.
boundaries, and also looking after yourself so that you can be present and making sure you're doing self-reflection on every single call. So you've got something to take to your supervision sessions to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's just best practice to doing self-reflection after every call, or at least at the end of the day across the calls or the coaching sessions. I would always advise everyone to do it after every coaching call or coaching session, because then it's fresh in people's minds.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's better part of best practice. Get into the habit as soon as you start coaching. At the end of every call, think about what worked well, what did you do that you're really pleased with, what you could do better next time. It's not about finding fault, but it is just simply, as it says on the tin, self-reflection. And that helps you just be present and show up in a better frame of mind for the next session. So in the event that you're lucky enough to be booked back to back, you do need to factor in some time for a little tea break and do that self-reflection, fill out the forms, because I can promise you at the end of the day, it just all kind of blurs into one. And then by the end of the week, it's like CPD, you can't really remember what you were going to do differently. So yeah. And you can download a CPD log, self-reflection log, all those sorts of things on the IAPC&M website as well with our compliments, or just ask us. So what does the future hold for you then, Bettina? Where do you see yourself going? More down the supervision route, so your business will be aimed at coaches, or because I know you do consultancy work as well.
Yes, I do. So I'm quite varied there. So I like a mix. So I will, at the moment, I'm looking to continue with a mix. And then I will see where it actually takes me. So I've had so all throughout my life, interestingly enough, I mean, it's seldom planned. Things happen and I think, oh, okay, I take almost the hint from the universe and then go a certain direction. I mean, it was the same with the supervision course. It came into my feed 3 or 4 times in a row over a number of years. And I thought, you know what, this is so many times now. This is almost like a bit of a hint. And quite a few people said, go on the training. So I thought, okay, I'll take the hint. So for me, I mean, I do want to definitely variety, but it depends on where things go over the next year or so, where I will then focus. But right now, what I do love about the variety, I'm at the coal face. So I understand from a consultancy point of view. So I am, generally I work on a really complex transformation. So there's a lot of change, a lot of people going through a lot of emotional upheaval. So I'm there at the forefront. I see that for myself, how it works and how actually, one has to navigate through it as an individual. I then coach people through it. So that's the next step removed. And I do the supervision around it. So in some ways, I see it all, which actually helps me, I believe, to be much more real and also be able to empathize.
Yeah,
because the thing is, if we're so far removed, if we're always quite removed, we lose. I mean, at least, in my view, I like practical approaches and I like to be in there with people. I personally would feel I would probably lose that ability to fully empathize with somebody. Yes, of course I could do it, but it wouldn't feel that, it's that real quality that you can then, that energetic quality you can feel. I might be wrong, but that's just me, how I operate. I feel for me personally, that really helps me to stay current. It helps me to stay present and it helps me to empathize.
Yes. No, I think that makes absolute sense that, if you went down the supervision route in years to come, you'll have completely forgotten what it's like to be at the coalface, to be a coach with all the issues that coaches have, because you'll be so steeped in being a supervisor. that you can't help but become just blinkered around the supervision questions, philosophy, etc., having forgot what it's like to be there as a struggling coach with coaching issues. So it sounds like you're going to have the best of both worlds. So you said you've got plenty of clients, Bettina. Who do you work with? What sort of clients do you work with? And how did you become so busy? Because that's what the younger generation are always aspiring to achieve, the sorts of level of business that you've got.
Yeah, so for now, I actually, I'm not super busy with paying clients because as I said, I took a break because of long COVID. So I'm now starting up again. My clients in general so I've got my consulting clients, which are generally sort of corporate, large corporates that are going through significant and complex global transformation or multi-country transformation. By transformation, it is they are generally changing their operating model, which means processes, systems, organization structures, potentially also culture, and they might do outsourcing, they might do shared services. So that's one side of it. I also coach around that. I coach change leaders, so people who are actually leading that change. And I do executive coaching. So if somebody wants to, change their career, or they want to become a better leader, or they want to lead their teams differently, that's the sort of thing I coach around. Then the other side is I coach coachpreneurs. So new coaches or coaches who want to, level up, who find it quite challenging at times to either get clients or want to niche in some way, shape, or form and don't really know how to and where to find that. That's the type of coaching I would do.
Yeah.
And then the supervision, that's really, any coach who tends to want supervision. I mean, at the moment, it is mainly newer coaches or more junior coaches that come to me.
And I was just thinking, somebody like myself, been coaching 20 years, and then a newer coach, say less than 2 years in the industry, who would get the most out of a supervision session, do you think?
Actually, I would think both. So that's I don't think it has anything to do with how where you are in your coaching journey. It has more to do with the types of topics you're bringing. And because, I mean, you might bring completely different topics than a newer coach would do. That's the thing. So generally, coaches that haven't been in the industry for long, they tend to bring something around their business, how they develop as a coach, where they might be going, how they might niche, and all these kind of things. They might bring all of these kind of areas to a supervision session, and they might bring some client issues that, someone like you would just resolve. So ethics thing, for example, if there's an ethical dilemma, you might just resolve that and might not even see that as a problem. Coaches who've been in industry much longer, they tend to come more with, well-being issues, how they now carve time out for themselves, or how they might, or for example, sort of, they might be a bit stuck in their, in a rut in how they coach. So it's really up-leveling them. Or it might be things like, client dilemmas that, that they previously would have resolved in one way, but actually looking at it holistically, where they might realize, oh, hold on a second, I've got most of my clients are this type. What's going on there? I only get these kinds of clients, and then actually look at it holistically as a pattern. So then really looking at, so what's your, patterns, belief systems, and how does that reflect in the clients and vice versa?
Okay, interesting.
And it could be anything in between, so I'm not, I don't want to judge here because people come with all sorts of different matters. And certainly when I go to supervision myself, I bring a host of different things. So it's actually across the board.
Yeah, it's good to know that it's not just something that the newer coaches are going to benefit from.
Absolutely.
Because it certainly wasn't around in my day. You just had a coach, I say just, but you just had a coach or a mentor to rely on. There wasn't there wasn't supervision back then. What's the climate, the coaching climate in Ireland? I mean, you used to coach in London, so very big city based. How are you finding the coaching culture in Ireland by comparison, I wonder?
I haven't actually really engaged with that, I must say, because I've been heads down. Well, I came here end of 2020. I was heads down working. So I had my clients, generally international clients, and I just continued really working until mid-August last year when long COVID really wiped me out. So I haven't really engaged that much with the Irish coaching culture. So I have got some Irish connections, obviously, who are coaches here and who are delivering coaching. Before COVID, it was very face-to-face. There was very little online from what I could see. Now it's a lot more online. But as I said, I haven't really engaged with clients and other coaches that much because of the long COVID. And as I say, I was so busy until August last year. I really haven't that. I wasn't able to get my head above water. So that's something I do want to do a lot more now, to explore what is it here locally, how does it work. I mean, to be fair, most of my clients are online anyway, so it's really not country specific.
No. Okay. Well, we have a lot of coaches in Ireland, and I keep thinking we must do something to raise the awareness of coaching within the corporate community in Ireland. And I'm sure there's more we can do. So we can discuss that later, I'm sure.
Definitely.
But for now, perhaps you'd just like to say how these two lucky people who want to have supervision can go about contacting you. What's it going to cost? What's the process, etc.?
Yeah, so it's actually very simple. Just shoot me an email. Either you can connect with me on LinkedIn or Facebook, or of course via my lovely directory page on the IAPC&M coaching directory, or you can contact me directly via Bettina, BETTINA .PICKERING, Pickering at gmail.com. So just to make it easy. The cost is £50 or €50 plus VAT. So that's actually an absolute fraction of what I normally charge. But I also appreciate that, I'm still in training, so I don't want to charge anyone the full amount. And it would be 3 hours in total. So it would be 3 times 1 hour. And as I said, for a period of time, I'm willing to continue that for those 2 people, which I have done for others as well, because, you don't just cut off after 3 hours, if there is a need for a little bit further. And that's really it. And the only thing is I will require that the sessions are recorded. I mean, everything is confidential, so it doesn't go out anywhere. And I'm absolutely happy to share the recordings with those particular individuals if they wish to have the recordings. So that's no problem at all.
I'm sure, like our coaching clients, they find the recording quite useful, because it's like when you're having any sort of consultation, not everything goes in, and some stuff just goes over your head and you think, oh, I didn't take notes, or I can't remember what my notes mean right now. So a recording is quite useful anyway, isn't it? If you want to just send me a little ditty, I'll share it with all the training providers, Bettina, because obviously they've got a gold mine for you of students all around the world. So I would have thought it's going to be a first come, first serve basis, because once that email goes out, I'm sure it will get you'll get inundated. But I can send it to the training providers and they can share it with their communities as well.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you so much, Dawn. Can I just add one thing about supervision?
Yes.
So, and the same actually, weirdly enough, goes for accreditation. I don't know actually how many coaches now are going for bids, either, and I mean bids, so a request for proposals in corporates as well as public sector organizations. And that actually even goes for charities. A lot of places, I mean, especially Ireland and the UK, and I've seen it in other places in Europe as well. I don't know about the Americas and APAC, but I certainly know in Europe that's absolutely something that's coming a lot more. And actually a part of a lot of those requests for proposals is that they ask for accreditation, of the coach. So they know how many hours the coach has actually done, and that was verified by somebody else. And obviously everything that goes with it, the complaints procedure, the safeguarding and everything else. And a lot of them, and they have been for a number of years now, ask for supervision and current supervision. So you can't just say, oh, let me just find a supervisor right now and sign them up and sign up for one session. No, the supervisor actually has to write something. So I recently had to write something for a client that they have been in supervision with me, and I made very clear that I was still in training. However, that was accepted and that was fine. But I've had the same thing
really
when I went for bids. I had to ask my supervisor to write something to just say, yes, she's in supervision. She's had X many hours. Obviously, they don't say what was discussed in any of the sessions, but you still have to say, somebody else external has to say about you, yes, this person ticked the box, they are in supervision. And actually, one of the coaching associations that I am part of still, haven't had any work for them for a while, but before last time I worked with them, they actually requested the invoice from my supervisor to see that I've actually paid for the sessions as proof.
Wow.
So it does happen. So even if you just want to be an associate coach somewhere, be aware you might need accreditation and you might need supervision in place. Just wanted to highlight that because a lot of people don't know that if they don't work in the corporate world on a regular basis.
Yes, I mean, I knew that
world.
From the education field, but I didn't know that corporates were doing such detailed due diligence. But of course, those that are contracting, they will have that sort of safeguarding and benchmarking in there.
Yes.
But what I'm also finding is lots of corporates just assume that we are accredited, we are insured, we've got a supervisor, coach, or mentor. And it's only when a problem comes up and then it's like, oh my goodness, you're not. I better get all our ducks in a row. So it's interesting you're saying, particularly for those who are going for bids, that it's increasing criteria and loopholes to jump through to win these bids.
Yes, and also, as I say, if they want to become associate coaches with larger coaching organizations who, and I can totally understand if somebody wants to do that, because you then get work more easily, you get sessions assigned to you, so it makes finding work a bit more easy, especially when you are a new coach. But also some established coaches have long established connections with coaching organizations. But those organizations also obviously want to safeguard themselves, so they will ask for this. So it's important to have this in place if you ever want to go into these directions. So just as I said, I just wanted to mention that because a lot of people don't know, and they then get caught out.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I know that the new software that we're uploading for our website is going to be matching clients to coaches and vice versa. So, it's quite possible that will be another tick box in terms of the criteria. Do you have your own supervisor, your own coach, mentor, and making it mandatory as opposed to voluntary? I don't know. So what was I going to say about that? It's gone. I've got distracted by Gillian's question. I'm just trying to work out what it is that she's asking me. Do I still coach clients while you're going through your yes, I think you've already answered that. The answer is yes. While you're going through your training, you are still coaching clients. And will you become an accredited supervisor? Because I know you're passionate about accreditation as well.
Yes, so that will be the next step. So once I get my certificate, I will look to get accredited. So I have to see where that will happen, and I'm hoping by that point the IAPC&M will offer a pass for supervisors to get accredited.
Yes, well, I'm sure you're talking to David about that at the moment. He's going through his accreditation, so there's a fair number that are interested. So
yes,
and it's
no,
another
absolutely.
way.
So I do.
Sorry, there's a lag. It's another way for people like you who have accrued thousands and thousands of practical coaching and mentoring hours to pay it forward by being a supervisor. So in a way, it's a
Yes.
beautiful thing as well, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm glad to be able to share that with others.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, well, keep us posted. So I'm conscious of the time. I said I'd keep you for half an hour. So just remind anybody who's listening, because there's only 2 places that you need. What if you get more than 2? Are you able to take more than 2, Bettina? Or is it
Yes,
first come, first served?
I can take more than 2, but not at the same time. So that would be a bit of a waiting list. So if there happen to be 3 people, then I will make that work. But as I say, I only need 2 at the moment, and that's that. Then I can complete my training, and no doubt once I've completed the training, I will be looking to support the IAPC&M and IAPC&M coaches with a special offer. However, that won't be £50 or €50 plus VAT. That'll be a bit more.
Yeah, sure. Well, I tell you what we'll do, Bettina, is we will make sure that this recording goes into our private social media groups, giving them 24 hours to respond. If you don't get your 2 people, say this time on Friday, let me know and I'll just send a little message out to some training providers. I'll perhaps do 1 or 2 at a time so you don't get inundated, because I would hate for you to have 100 people apply and, you know, for 97 or so to be really disappointed, because this is a great opportunity for supervision. It's also at a great price to be supervised by a great lady with a huge amount of experience. So I strongly recommend you take this up because it is a rare opportunity to be supervised at a very affordable price, particularly if you're starting out in business. So we'll make that offer, Bettina, until mid-Friday, and then we'll extend it to some of our other students by our training providers. Cool.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dawn.
You're welcome. Enjoy the rest of your day, Bettina. And who knows when I will see you next. Oh, we're doing a presentation in a week or so, aren't we? So yeah. So I'll see you again then. All right. You take care.
Thank you so much, Dawn.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye
you.
now.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.